Classroom Elite is a unique series in the case that there isn't just one person who's intelligent. There are multiple students in Advanced Entering High School that are geniuses in their own right. However, Ayanokoji is just so far above them that they seem stupid in comparison, which isn't necessarily the case. And in this video, we're going to cover all the different types of intelligence shown in Classroom Elite to determine who is the best type of genius. First, before we start the video, we have to go over what type of geniuses are there in Classroom Elite, and I've narrowed it down to a couple. First is creative genius, second is natural genius, and third is kinesthetic genius, and the last one, adaptive genius. These are all the different types of geniuses I've come to believe are in Classroom Elite. And the first one, creative genius, refers to the ability to not only use experience to think abstractly, generate novel ideas, and adapt to novel situations, but to go beyond what is given and create original ideas. Ryuuen is the representative of creative genius in Classroom Elite. He is known for his cunning calculation and trademark problem-solving capabilities. Trademark in the sense that his discerning of a given situation is vastly different in terms of both logic and execution compared to other geniuses. He engineers his plans by incorporating risks with potential benefits compared to Ayanokoji, who goes for borderline perfect plans with no risk whatsoever. In fact, Ayanokoji quote-unquote says, "I don't go unless there's a 100% success rate." Due to Ayanokoji's nature of being a almost logic machine, he does not go with options that seem the less logical path. This means he's not revolutionary, and this is more explained in my friend's video named Nucha. And this doesn't matter to Ryuuen though, as he's an individual who is relentless and isn't shaken by failure. Ryuuen has suffered defeat time and time again, and those losses have only made him come back stronger than ever. We get to see the first glimpse of how creative Ryuuen is during the strategy he formed to win the first year island exam in Year 1 Volume 3 of Classroom Elite. If you're enjoying the video so far, please subscribe. Now to go on with what this strategy was. Every class started with 300 points. Class B and Class D were just doing things the normal way, so they were going to get to 125 to 185 class points. What happened between Class A and Class C was Ryuuen gave equipment and information to Class A, so Class A is getting 200 points from Ryuuen. In exchange, Ryuuen gets private points equivalent to that of 200 points till graduation. So Ryuuen now has 820k 40 students. Private points a month. Katsuragi gets 400 plus class points, but they have to pay back 800k private points, 200 class points a month. Ryuuen slightly beats up Kaneda and Ibuki to make them look like convincing castaways and send them to spy on Class B and D. He then uses the last 100 points, partying up, and dips the entire class except for himself, keeping a walkie-talkie to communicate with his spies. From Class B and D's perspective, they would see that Ryuuen doesn't care about the exam and spend all of his points partying. Kaneda and Ibuki were perhaps kicked out because they didn't want to conform, which was convincing given Ryuen's reputation of ruling Class C with an iron fist as a dictator. After most of Class C went back to the cruise ship, Ryuuen stayed hidden on the island and constantly sent out orders to the spies to retrieve info on Class B and D's leaders for Katsuragi. Class C's ideal win, calculated by Ryuuen. Here it is. And this would leave Ryuen's class with 176 points, though guessing the other class leaders means they lose 50 points each and will negate all of their bonus points, points from guessing leaders and securing spots. Theoretically, Ryuuen would have wiped the floor with this exam, but due to Ayanokoji's interference, his plans went up to smoke, leaving Class C with 0 points. When looking more closely into Ryuen's strategy and comparing it to someone like Ayanokoji, they both share the traits of creating strategies that are unorthodox. The only difference between them is the risks they take. Ryuuen isn't afraid of using violence to get what he wants, though as of recent volumes, he's learned there are more ways to achieve victory than through straight-up violence as learned by Ayanokoji. This strategy in particular, however, demonstrated Ryuen's cunning and creative mindset of using what he has and finding workarounds, along with his ability to make calculated decisions plus risks that would benefit both long-term and short-term. It also shows Ryuen's ability to use narrative to his advantage. Ryuuen lost to Ayanokoji, but also took a victory at the same time. He has lots of free private points to spend, and now has a good idea of how the other classes operate. Arisu Sakinagi is a natural genius, and has been special since birth. Her ideology stems from the belief that no one can become a genius, but rather it's something installed in you since birth. This is why she used to call Ayanokoji a false genius, and so desperately wanted to challenge him to prove her ideology right. Her intellect is shown through her unique way of leadership and strategies. She makes calculated decisions, while thus treating everyone in Class A equally, no matter their role. This way, she's able not to get too close to them emotionally, which would result with bias clouding her judgment. The way she creates strategies is unique in the sense that it's essentially like a game of chess. and she could see far ahead. A good example would be her hidden strategy spanning from Year 1 Volume 9 to Year 1 Volume 10. Sakinagi spreads word of Ichinose's theft in the past. This not only destroys Ichinose's image, it completely shatters her mentally, and due to her acting as Class B's bank, this put her in an extremely compromising position. The hidden story between this is Kiyotaka knew what was going on, but intended to stay out of it, and he would have, but Manabu's call made him enter the battle. Manabu gave Ayanokoji the information that Kushida had contacted Nagamo to ask for help in expelling Suzune and Ayanokoji. In order to stop Nagamo from giving help to Kushida, Kiyotaka approached Kushida and offered a very tantalizing deal. One-time information in exchange for a perpetual payment of private points. Kushida considers this to be too good to be true, so is suspicious at first, but Ayanokoji fakes weakness, asking maybe if she could not target him anymore. And that pulls the wool over Kushida's eyes. Kiyotaka receives info from Kushida and spreads the rumors, which Nagamo finds out about, combined with the private points payment. This leads Nagamo to think that Kiyotaka and Kushida are allies, leading him to turn Kushida away. Kiyotaka later perfects this defense in Year 2 Volume 1 by putting Horikita in the student council. Nagamo already favored Suzune due to Manabu, and even now due to this, and uses the transaction record of him paying Kushida monthly as a weapon to destroy Kushida's reputation in class. Ayanokoji didn't actually care about Ichinose, but he took perfect shots to kill every bird with a few stones, and everything fell into place. Sakinagi lifted Kiyotaka to the podium in the class vote, but that's not the only thing she did. Working behind those scenes, she satisfied her own curiosity and gathered all the information she needed about Kiyotaka's connections. Sakinagi knew about students having the same student numbers, so she tested her own personal theory out. She knew that Katsuragi and Yamauchi had the same student numbers, so she manipulated Class D into targeting Yamauchi to see if it would auto-expel Katsuragi also. However, this fails, and Mashima is able to read what Sakinagi had thought, and tells her that that's not how the student number system works. In the previous volume, Sakinagi witnesses Kushida and Nagamo's meeting, and is curious to know the reason behind Kushida's actions. Was it under Kiyotaka's orders, or did she have another goal? Thus, she manipulated Yamauchi into asking Kushida for help to kick Kiyotaka out. If Kushida agreed, this would mean she is Kiyotaka's enemy, and refusal would show her to be Kiyotaka's ally. Afterwards, Sakinagi approached Kiyotaka and requests they save their match for next time, while ordering students around behind the scenes to have Kiyotaka expelled. Of course, Sakinagi had no intention of actually letting that happen, so she stacked Class A's praise votes onto him, guaranteeing him a safety net. Her primary focus was to see if Kiyotaka and Kushida were allies or enemies. In addition, Sakinagi would be able to see Kiyotaka's general position in Class D. If Kiyotaka had earned significantly more or less than 38 praise points, it would signal that he has a very good or even a bad reputation in Class D. Kiyotaka earned 42 votes, giving Sakinagi the information that he was in a reasonably fair spot in the class hierarchy and likely wouldn't be threatened first if a similar exam occurred in the future. In the previous volume, Hashimoto witnesses Ayanokoji and Kei Karizawa together on Valentine's Day, then reports to Sakinagi. In order to check if Kiyotaka and Kei are merely classmates or something special, she orders the expel Kiyotaka plan in the class vote to be leaked to Kei also. If Kei took the risks of being targeted and gave Kiyotaka the information, it would show that they are more than simple classmates. Had she laid still, this would be proof the two are completely platonic. Hashimoto, who can only see one move ahead, considered this a mistake on Sakinagi's part. However, this was the move that would lay the whole board out to Sakinagi, who predicts 5 or 6 moves into the future. The difference between the two is emphasized again in Volume 11's chess match, where it was said that Sakinagi/Kiyotaka were in a different realm to Hashimoto and Horikita. Kei chose to inform Kiyotaka of the danger, allowing Sakinagi to conclude that there is something special between the two. Based on Arisu's strategies that span from 2 volumes, it's no understatement to say that she is a natural genius. However, as I stated earlier, what makes her strategy so unique is that she's always a certain number of steps ahead. Hashimoto, someone who can only think plainly, couldn't see any value in giving up sensitive information to Kei regarding the plot to expel Kiyo. Arisu, however, saw the bigger picture, or, in her case, saw the entire chessboard for what it was. Bodily kinesthetic learning style or intelligence refers to a person's ability to process information physically through hand and body movement, control, and expression. It is also known as the physical learning style or tactile kinesthetic learning style. Bodily kinesthetic learners prefer bodily information over other forms. Movement services as an aid to their memory, and they remember movement from others as well as their own. People with bodily kinesthetic intelligence may seek out touching and manipulating objects when learning about them. They enjoy creating work with their hands, may have a lot of energy and need to move, and they may be talented athletes. Sudou, though nowhere near as intelligent as the other geniuses on this list, shines with his kinesthetic intelligence. Sudou's physical ability is no joke, as it has an A+ rating in the Advanced Nurturing High School ranking system, OA rankings. Since junior high, his physical ability was noted to be comparable to that of high schoolers. Sudou's physical abilities are always crucial when put into an exam that requires physical ability to win, and his skills were invaluable during both Year 1 and Year 2 sports festivals. Sudou himself also has a good understanding of the human body, and could tell that Ayanokoji was quite strong when he first saw his physique during Year 1, when Class D went swimming. He then noticed Ayanokoji's grip strength during Year 1 Volume 5, and knew he was holding back. He was able to confirm his suspicions after seeing Ayanokoji hold back Hosen, someone he was not able to defeat. Ayanokoji himself even knew that no matter what lie he told Sudou, his body would tell Sudou the truth. Not to mention, Sudou, as an experienced athlete, would be able to correctly analyze how strong someone is just based off their physique alone, as he knew that to get that physique like Ayanokoji, it would take years of extensive training. Adaptive intelligence is the ability of the mind to be able to change in response to the current demand in the environment. And who's better to pick that display of this type of intelligence than that of Ayanokoji Kiyotaka? He is a genius of adaptation, which is unique in itself. Most geniuses of today are seen as geniuses due to coming up with original/innovative ideas, or methods, or type of calculations. Ayanokoji, however, takes information that is already known and simply improves upon it drastically. This was showcased during Volume 0 of Classroom Elite, as at the start, Ayanokoji was nowhere near the best. He was actually quite average, but slowly and steadily, he began to surpass the other students. He was able to adapt to the ever so harsh conditions of the White Room, and even improve on what they taught him. We see this with his martial arts, as Shiro used to be far better than him. However, after constantly sparring with Shiro, he was able to not only adapt to his skills, but surpass him. The gap between the two of them widened so much that Shiro stated it has been years since he ever beat Ayanokoji in a sparring session. Ayanokoji's adaptability isn't something that takes time, however. It can actually be instantaneous, as we can see during Year 2 Volume 8, as Ayanokoji races Kito and Ryuuen in a skiing match. To prevent them from crashing into each other, Ayanokoji watches Ryuuen and Kito skate, and uses that as the foundation to not only improve his own skiing ability, but to surpass them altogether, which even Kushida compliments. So which type of genius do you think is the most useful? And not gonna lie, Ayanokoji displays nearly every genius on this list.